on the Cambridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network from Learfield. Welcome to Fast Break, a Ball State athletics podcast dedicated to the Cardinals women's basketball team. Presented by Cambridge, here are your hosts, Dom Liacani and Sam Niger.
What's going on, Ball State women's basketball fans and Cardinal fans alike? I'm Dominic Liacani alongside Sam Niger, back at you for another episode of Fast Break presented by Cambridge, a Ball State women's basketball podcast. We hope you had a happy holidays and a very Merry Christmas as well. Sam, how was your holidays, man? Because I know it's been a while since we've talked. Again, another 2 weeks have flown by like that, and we're past Christmas. How was time with the family?
It was great, Dom, but you're right. It did fly by. It feels like I just got back home after that Anderson game. Got to see the family, but before we know it, we're going to be launching into MAC play, launching back into the swing of school. But it's been a much needed break. How about yourself, my friend?
It was good. Been a whole lot of nothing so far, and I think that's what both of
Not a
us
bad
need.
thing.
I know it's what both of us need right now, especially with the roles we've been on, and this is what this team has needed as well with the role that it's been on, and it's just gauntlet of non-conference opponents as well. I was looking at Warren Nolan the other day. I think the Cardinals are inside the top 55 in the nation in toughest schedules so far for the non-con. So, an unreal challenge that this team has had to endure, but it's been a fun journey so far. But no other than that for myself, just hanging out with family and friends and kind of enjoying home a little bit. But no, it's been good, and we're excited to be back with you all as well. For those listening, it's been a long 2 weeks, but a break that I'm sure everyone needed as well. So on today's episode, gonna try and keep our parts at least short and sweet because we had a really great interview with Allie Buckets Becky before recording this, and she's always a great conversation, and we can't wait for everyone to hear that because it was great, Sam.
Well, after putting up with us asking questions of her for 4 years, you'd think she'd get good at answering them at this point, and she definitely has. It was a great interview. Love talking with Allie all the time, and she shed a little light on where this team is at right now. It's going to be a fun listen.
Absolutely. So we'll recap the last two games that the Cardinals have played, those matchups at Northern Kentucky and then against Anderson before the winter break here. And then we'll preview the next three contests the Cardinals will play, all three Mid-American Conference matchups as MAC play gets rolling here, starting on New Year's Day, taking on Miami of Ohio, Central Michigan, and Eastern Michigan as well. But Sam, I quickly want to talk about these two games that the Cardinals had to finish up the non-con going into the winter break. You start off going up against a beat-up Northern Kentucky team, missing two of its starters. And although the Cardinals were missing two of their starters as well, the Cardinals had absolutely no problem in this one. Final score 77-51. And I don't think we can talk about this game at all, starting without talking about the freshman Grace Kingery going 7 for 8 from deep. What a performance for her.
It was an unbelievable performance from Kingery. 23 points, just led the team in scoring. She doubled the next highest scoring of Elise Stuck with 11. So it was a big confidence thing for her, right? Because she hadn't gotten a lot of playing time, hadn't had a ton of reps, just because of the nature of this starting lineup for Ball State. We talked at the beginning of the season about the depth of this team. Well, now you have Maddie Bischoff go out 37 seconds into the game against Ohio State. Kingery has to play the majority of the game against Ohio State, but then she gets her first start on the road against a much more manageable Northern Kentucky team, and she made the Norse pay. I mean, I texted you after that Northern Kentucky game because I know you got to witness it firsthand. And I think I said something along the lines of, what the heck just happened? And your exact words to me were, Grace Kingery is the answer. And she has been the answer thus far when it comes to, the injury-ridden Cardinals team. And not only that, but when Maddie Bischoff and when Alex Richard do return, we do expect them to return, Grace Kingery will have carved a rollout for herself, even when the starters are back. So good for her because that's the future of the program right there. She looked phenomenal.
So I lied. It was 7 for 15 from deep, but she had 8 field goals on
Right,
23 points, getting her first collegiate start. A heck of a performance for her. Also can't forget about quickly mentioning Kiefer Nation down there in Highland Heights. It was
Yeah,
about 12 minutes, I want to say I did the Google search. It was from Alexandria for Marie for her little homecoming down there. I asked her before the game how many people you think are gonna come out, and she said, I don't know. I don't really want to know because there were a lot of people there for Marie Kiefer, and it was really, really
right.
cool to see. Not a bad day for her. 9 rebounds, a game high, 6 points, 3 for 5 from the field. That's a pretty nice homecoming, and she got a really nice standing ovation when she subbed out of the game late.
That's great. Yeah, that was good to see from her. Glad to see that family and friends showed up for that.
Then you take a look at the game against Anderson on the 19th, community night, ugly Christmas sweater night. Sam, there's not a whole lot I can say to describe this type of game other than blowout.
Mhm.
And it's something I think we both expected heading into this one, especially with a D3 opponent against a D1 opponent. 112-35, the final, the largest margin of victory in program history. And I give Anderson a little bit of credit for running some good schemes here and there. They gave the Cardinals some good looks, but I mean, let's be honest, the Cardinals were not fooled in this one, and it was a runaway from the start.
Yeah, the Christmas sweaters weren't the only thing that was ugly. It was pretty much won, 5 minutes into the game. Ball State put the hammer down. They had 30 points at the end of the first, 60 points at halftime. All I think there was, I'm doing quick math, 7 players in double digits. Every player besides Marie Kiefer who touched the floor scored. And Marie only got 12 minutes, which she didn't really need anymore in a game against Anderson. Yeah, give credit to the Ravens because that's a tough ask to go into a hostile environment, probably the largest arena they'll ever play in their college basketball careers. Hostile crowd and to get rolled 112 to 35. Again, it's kind of one of those outliers on the schedule. It's good to know that even with Bischoff and Richard out, the team can still execute on both sides of the ball. They can hold a team to less than 50 points, and they can also apparently score in the triple digits for the first time this season. So lots of positive takeaways, but I don't know how much Ball State really learned from that game that they're going to translate into the rest of their season, other than just having a big blowout fun win to wrap up 2024.
82 points in the paint, and that's what we've expected from the Cardinals. We've expected high numbers down in the paint scoring wise, but 82 points, unreal. 46 points off of turnovers, and then 16 second chance points as well. And the one big thing that Brady Sally has talked about improvement wise heading into MAC play was the offensive rebounding. And again, I know it's a D3 opponent, but you got to like that small progress you make there right before conference play starts.
Yeah, it's live reps against a team that's not your own, Dom. That, regardless of who the opponent is going to be good for your team, especially in the non-conference schedule. That's why you hear coaches talk about the importance of these early season exhibition games, even though they don't count towards the schedule. It's against similar style opponents. Ball State played IU Kokomo again, not a Division I team in their exhibition. They're just excited to get live reps against a team that's not their own. And this one did count to the schedule, so it's an added bonus. And the Cardinals can feel real good about themselves heading into the winter break, and I think they do.
So, as the non-con ends, Sam, I want to ask you, there's a ton that can be learned about this team that we've heard. From your perspective, what do you see from this team heading into conference play?
I see a team that is unfazed by the adversity that they have faced already because they have already faced as much adversity this year in the non-conference that they saw in pretty much the entirety of the regular season last year. This is a Ball State program that a year ago breezed through their non-conference schedule. Notre Dame was the big outlier. I mean, on the home floor, UConn obviously another big outlier as well. But outside of the power conference opponents, Ball State rolled the competition that was supposed to be at or above their same level. And this year, it wasn't necessarily as much of the case. A lot of the same starting out 4-0, and then you go down to Atlantis and you play 3 games in 3 days against two power four opponents, and Columbia, who happens to be one of the best mid-major programs in the country. You only come away from that tournament with 1 win, and then you lose, 3 out of 4 against Columbia, South Dakota State, and Ohio State. You're down two starters. After that South Dakota State game, and then maybe even again after the Ohio State game, there were probably more question marks around this team than there had been in quite a few years. We talk about the consistency of this core four in Becky, Kiefer, Richard, and Bischoff. With two of those out and the team losing three of four, there were a lot of question marks around a program that is usually a steady Eddie when it comes to non-conference play. But they bounced back with a huge win against Northern Kentucky. Now they're sitting at a convincingly winning record of 8-4. The confidence is back all of a sudden, and they're going to get some players back. They're going to get Bischoff. They're going to get Richard back as we start to approach as we start to approach the conference schedule, rather. So yeah, I see a team that's faced maybe more adversity to this point than they were expecting, but I see a team that has gotten themselves back up after being knocked down a couple of times, and a team that is truly and comprehensively prepared for conference play, maybe for the first time in the last half decade.
Well, I tell you what, too, and I look at the veteran leadership of this team as well, and I get that two of your core four are out with injury right now, but one, there's no doubt they're going to come back either during the middle of conference play or sometime during conference play. Don't have an exact update, but I tell you what, these last 12 days have surely helped with rest.
Yeah.
That's a huge proponent of this as well, is a, a big reason. I'm not sure that's exactly why they scheduled it this way and not why they did it at all, but it's nice to have 12 days away from basketball to say, hey, let's just get bodies healthy right now. Let's make sure that we can make good progression on ourselves and make sure that we're good to go heading in to MAC play. But I see a team that obviously you make the moves for those power four gets out of the transfer portal. You've got great veteran leadership. You've got what's coming back from years past that have made deep MAC tournament runs. This team was tested in non-conference play, and there's no doubt that you're right, Sam. There was a ton of adversity that they were not expecting. The Cardinals hadn't had this kind of these kind of injuries simultaneously happen in a couple years. I can't remember a year where these kind of injuries have happened in the same span and consecutively where it's been two of your starters are out. But you got to give Ball State a ton of credit. They have done a phenomenal job of handling that adversity, staying calm, and I think it has to do with how deep this team is as well. So it's going to be an exciting start to MAC play to see where this team is, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens against Miami of Ohio. So that's where this team is right now, but in a very, very good spot as we head into Mid-American Conference play. All right, well, when we come back here on Fast Break, our interview with Allie Becky, it was nothing short of phenomenal. A really, really good listen. Hopefully you stick around for that one. Until then, we'll see you then. This is Fast Break presented by GameBridge.
Sometimes it's not the moment. It's the moment before the moment. The moment you make a choice. The moment you take control. The moment only you can own. GameBridge lets you invest on your terms. So you're not only in charge of this moment, but all the moments to come. Start investing now at GameBridge.io.
Hey, Cardinal fans, welcome back inside episode number 5 of Fast Break, a Ball State women's basketball podcast presented by GameBridge. Sam, our next guest, needs no introduction, but I'm going to anyways with our 15 different nicknames on this note card. It's the Brownsburg Bucket, Agent Zero, Miss Do-It-All, the cheat code, Miss Triple-Double, Allie Buckets Becky. Allie, what's going on? Do you have out of curiosity, do you have a favorite of the nicknames you've been given so far?
I feel like the original one, like the Alley Buckets, is probably the best one.
Okay. I dig that. I like the Brownsburg Bucket. I think that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
What's going on with you? It's you're our first recurring guest on the pod. So first of all, welcome back.
Yeah.
What's the holiday been like for you?
I mean, we just kind of got done playing Anderson like 6 days ago or something like that. So, I mean, we've had 6 days of just kind of like relaxing and being with our family and just like having fun. I mean, I didn't really take days off besides like Christmas Day, but like, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's been fun. It's been relaxing for the most part and no school. So that's also a plus. So, yeah.
Now, when
Well,
you say no days off, like what does that training look like for you when not only, when you're still at school for a little bit, but then when you get home?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like more I was doing more with like weights wise just because I know you get sore after not doing anything for like 6+ days. So I was trying to get in the weight room and just kind of hit the things I need to hit and focus on the things I need to focus on to correlate to the court.
Well, speaking of Christmas and outside of basketball, did you get everything you asked for? How were the gifts? How was the haul?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, my parents always do good every year. I got some nice Beats Pro headphones that I've been asking for, and then just small things that I kind of really need. I mean, I'm getting older now. I don't really know what I need and what I want, and like this is my last year in the house, so I'm like, I don't ask for like supply like pots and pans and plates and vacuums and stuff. Like I literally have all that stuff. So I mean, it was good though. Like everything was good, and I can't complain.
Does the Becky family have like a big tradition that you guys do every Christmas? Like, what's something that you guys do with either just you guys or extended family? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, usually like Christmas Eve or Christmas Day or something like that, we'll watch like a Christmas movie together, and that's always fun. And then a lot of my extended family, they come over, or we either go over there or they come over to us, and this year they came to us, and like we like play games and eat dinner or lunch or whatever it is, and just spend time with each other.
Has it hit your family yet that you said it was your last year coming back to the house? Have they expressed their sadness about that, or are they ready to get you gone?
No, they're definitely sad. I mean, I have also a younger brother who's in college, so they he gets to kind of fill me in with all this stuff, and but yeah, I mean, I also have a cousin that's we're in like the same age too, and like we were just talking about how like just can't believe it's our last year, and like it's gone by so fast, and this and that. So I mean, it's a bittersweet moment, but they love me, so it's all good.
Speaking of moving fast, the season has moved fast, if you will. We're already done with non-conference play. Before we talk just about the state of the team right now as a whole after non-con, I have to ask you about the game against Memphis because we haven't gotten a chance to talk about that with you, at least on the pod, since it's happened. And first of all, I feel a little guilty because during the post game interview, I had asked because I had asked Brady a question about you the game before because you had a real nice performance the game before. I forget who it was, but I had asked about Elise, and then as soon as the interview was wrapping up, he looks at me and goes, "You're not going to ask me about Allie's triple double?" And I had no idea because the game was so fast paced. I saw you had 20 points, but I didn't see I saw the 10 rebounds. I didn't see the 10 assists. So first of all, being the first player since 2010 with a triple double in program history, belated congratulations. And Brady had told me that you had been going for that throughout your whole college career. You were waiting for it to happen. You were patient. But once you finally saw that you had hit triples or doubles in triple categories, what was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome just because, like, I mean, I'm gonna reference Caitlin Clark. I feel like she's always had like triple doubles and a lot of double doubles too. So like that's always kind of like a goal I'm trying to reach to, and she's just a great role model and something I like always like someone I always look up to. And so seeing that, it meant a lot to me, and I feel like I've always been close. And then some games I mean, not some games, all of the games I haven't gotten it. So I mean, it kind of just shows like what I've been doing and what the team has been doing and like what everyone's been doing has got like been paying off. So that's good to see.
And Allie, a little anecdote of my own. I then called the next game at Northern Iowa, and I asked Brady, I think I phrased it something along the lines of, well, you can't necessarily expect her to have a triple double every time she comes out. And he said, yeah, I do expect it now. How has that standard changed after you did drop that triple double to where you are now? Has that helped you raise your game, raise your preparation a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's necessarily been a difference just because Brady always expects the best out of everyone. And I mean, I try, but that's not like what I'm going for. I'm not trying to pat my stats or anything. I'm just trying to go out there and win. And I mean, if it comes with it, it comes with it. And that's just part of playing hard and playing around good people who put the ball in the basket and make me look good because I'm just giving them the ball and then they make the baskets. I feel like that's kind of the main thing with the assists and everything. And yeah, yeah, I just remember when we were playing Memphis, I was like, Marie, like I just need one more rebound. Like if you can like tip it to me or if you can just like let it go, like just let me get it or whatever. And so she did, and then I ended up getting the rebound and then she didn't know I needed another assist. And so she did a pick and roll and I threw it to her and I got assist too. So I mean that my team, like everyone's like for each other, for me. Like it's awesome, and just to see how they respect me and not only like they want the best for me is also means a lot to me because I mean this team has been through a lot of different people, different all these different things. So it's good to see that we're all on the same page and we want the best for each other.
Looking at the entirety of the non-con, and again, speaking with Brady during these post-game interviews, it's been a lot of talk of just learning about where this team's at and now feeling comfortable knowing exactly who you are going into MAC play. I'm curious your perspective on where this team is right now, and obviously a little banged up here and there, but you guys have worked through the injuries like nobody's business in these last couple of games. Where do you see this team going right now, especially going into MAC play?
I mean, I see us going far. We just with all these injuries, I mean, a lot of people have stepped up, honestly, like Grace and Sydney Bolden and the twins, like they like everyone has stepped up. MJ, Tessa, like I mean, I mean, you couldn't ask for more, really. And like missing two of your starters, and those two starters are big role, like big players. And so, I mean, everyone has stepped up, and it's been good. I mean, we're just getting through some things, but that just comes with it. But yeah, we're doing good. I'm very excited, and excited for Alex and Maddie to come back. I mean, that's always a plus, and seeing how close they are. Not rushing anything, but just seeing how close they are and just excited for that and seeing what the people that have came in and what they contribute after they come back. So I mean, it's going to be a deep bench and we're ready and we're excited.
And Allie, we hear all the time, in the coach's jargon about how important it is to flip that switch once you get to MAC play. But from a player's perspective, from a practical perspective, how do you actually do that when you hit your conference play?
Yeah, I mean, with conference, I mean, everyone knows everything about you. It's like everyone wants to win, it is out for blood. Like no matter if you're playing the lowest team in the division or the high, like it is a bloodbath, honestly. Like everyone's out for each other and it's you just kind of have to prepare. Like you have to keep training and like keep doing what you've been doing in the non-conference. But yeah, you also have to put your head down and just keep going. It's a grind, but it's a fun grind. And we play Wednesdays and Saturdays, and so like now we're on like a kind of a good schedule now, and nothing's like chaotic. So we'll be able to get in the flow of things. And um, yeah, I mean, not too much, but you just gotta prepare.
So you talk about being in a flow of a schedule now, and I'm curious because athletes are creatures of habit. I'm curious with you, are there any big superstitions that you have before games? Like, are you a superstitious person, or are you one of those people that just like I kind of just go with the flow?
I'm very superstitious. It's so bad. Like I had to stop one of them because it just like literally like made me go insane. I was like I had to wear like the same exact like sports bra spandex and I was like it was making me go insane. Like I couldn't do it anymore. So like I can't think about that. I don't like listening to music before games. Like it just something like that and like I have to put like my right shoe on first, then my left, and then like well, my knee pads first. So it's just like it's a lot of stuff, but I'm very superstitious and yeah.
Allie, when you were on the podcast the first time, during that season preview show, you talked about what that leadership role was going to be like for you this year. And it's funny that you mentioned Grace Kingery and all those new pieces that have filled in for injuries. She had that breakout game against Northern Kentucky. Um, and although she's more of a spot up shooter, the way she plays offense versus the way that the other freshman, Zuri Ransom, plays defense, like they both kind of remind me of you in different ways. Have you instilled in them your own game in any way, do you think, and how so?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it'd be cool to like hear what they kind of say about me and see if they take anything from me. I mean, if they do, that's awesome. But if they don't, like, it's not nothing against them or anything like that. But it's just good seeing them play like the way they're playing right now. And Grace needed that game, and you come in as a freshman, you just knock down like 7 threes. Like that's insane. And like the amount of confidence you have after those games is high. And so we need that right now, and especially since Maddie's out, we need a shooter. And so being able to knock down the threes and just like seeing a smile on her face, because Grace doesn't show all the emotion in the world, but when she does, like, it's good. Especially we're all coming from a good place and everyone's cheering each other on, and so that's always fun to watch. And then Zuri, I mean, she's just a hard player. She goes out there and tries everything, and she does everything good, and like she's doing really good on defense. So yeah, it's good to see these freshmen like be able to mesh in with us and see everything and learn from everything, and just yeah, it's been good.
I'm curious because obviously that core of your group that come in has been starting since either your freshman year or your sophomore year. Coming in as a freshman and being taken under someone else's wing versus now being a senior and you're taking younger players under your wing, what has that transition been like for you?
Yeah, I mean it's been different. I would say it's been kind of difficult for me just because I was playing with them like at a freshman, like young age, and so like a lot of them put me like under their wing, like you said, like Annie and Estelle and like Thelma and like all of them, like they really like helped me through a lot of things, and they also then like they helped Marie, they helped Maddie, like they were just really good people, and yeah, it's been adjustment just because I've always kind of been like under the role, or not under the role, like under the what's it called? Not, I don't know. But I'm like, I'm just like, I'm not the one that talks a lot. I try to lead by example, and I've just kind of been working on it a lot this year just because I just feel like this team kind of needs someone to lead. And I mean, Michelle's been doing good, and like Marie, Maddie, like all the seniors have been doing great. But just kind of stepping up as a person to lead the team. It's been a little bit difficult for me, but like it's been good. It's been worth the challenge. I know like if I kind of buy into this, it's gonna be all worth it in the end. And Audrey and Brady have been working with me with it. So I mean, it's been a little difficult, but we're getting there, and no better time to be late than never. So yeah.
Well, on the topic of your leadership, it's an interesting time that you're leading the team through right now. 12 days in between games, 16 days in between games against Division One opponents. How has that affected the mindset of the team, and how do you feel like you and your squad have kind of led the way through this period of not playing any games at all?
Yeah, I mean, first or yesterday was our first day back, and I think everyone was just happy to see each other. Like, energy was great. Like, it was fun. Like, we haven't seen each other in a while, and we kind of have that bond as a team. And so, seeing each other, joking around, and asking what you got for Christmas, just catching up and everything. So, that's been fun. Yesterday was good. We just went over plays and everything. So, I mean, I think today we're really gonna like lock in and work on ourselves, and yeah, I just getting everyone ready for the MAC play, and we have a lot of people that are returning, and like also people that came from the MAC, so like they know what it's like, and they're just excited and just have to kind of stay focused and focus on the main goal, the main picture, and
So you mentioned those players coming from the MAC, and obviously one that jumps off the page, Lachelle Austin. We had her on last episode, and the biggest thing that she told us in the transition period from EMU now here was the competitiveness and the environment. And she specifically talked about you and how you guys drove each other throughout that offseason. I'm curious your take because she said that you guys just are both uber competitive and like not afraid to kind of give it to each other back and forth in competition. What's that competition like against her, especially?
yeah, I mean, usually we're on the same team for scout and everything, so that's good. But when we aren't, I mean, we're just like again what you said, we're competitive, and it's fun giving each other crap, and like no one takes it the wrong way. Like we're just competitive players, and we love to play basketball, and I think that's just kind of what drives us. And like I don't know, we just say random stuff like just to get each other going. I mean, it just makes us better, and it's fun having her on the team and being able to just joke with somebody and no one takes it too seriously or anything like that. I mean, it's out of all love, and it's been fun, and just to see how she's grown as a person, just not from Eastern but from here too. I mean, it's a huge adjustment and coming from any team and just wondering if you're going to fit on the team and how you're going to mesh with everyone, and like it's been all good. I mean, all love for her, and she got a black eye, so we're all just bashing on her like, oh, you need some makeup, or just playing along, and just it's been fun, and yeah, just been competitive, and yeah, we've just been making each other better.
Well, you've got her former team in Eastern Michigan on the schedule over the next 2 weeks. Next three games, Miami of Ohio, Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan. Those are three teams that you've played really well against in your career. Is there one matchup that you're particularly looking forward to, both for the team and for yourself, or are you just kind of rolling with this schedule now that it's started?
I mean, kind of rolling the schedule. I'm just excited to see like all the teams. It's just a different year. Not a lot of people are gone from other teams, and I'm just anxious, excited just to see how everyone looks, everyone plays out. Just see all the players that I have seen, like that have stuck with like the same teams, and just like seeing them, seeing how they're doing. Try to continue making those relationships, and yeah, I'm just excited, and
Before we let you go, because we're running out of time, um, I want to talk quickly about your number because, okay, stop me if I'm wrong, because I did a little bit of my homework. So you were 22 in high school. Did you
yes,
want to come in wearing 22 and then Estelle had 22? So,
yeah.
okay, so then my question is, how did you pick zero? Did you pick zero? Did someone else pick zero for you? And how have you just decided to run with that?
Yeah, so this is when I visited Ball State, I obviously like saw like everyone, like all these people, and I remember this one girl, her name was I hope I don't butcher it. I think it was Deuce, and she was number 0, and I was like, I kind of like that number, and I was like, I can't get 22 because Estelle has it, and like it won't be like it'll be like years till I get to 22 because she took her years, and it was like 3 more years. So I was like, okay, I'll just let 22 go, like just start something new. And so I like the number 0, and then like it also reminded me of Jason Tatum, so that was a big thing. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it looked cool, and yeah. But when I decided to pick 0, my dad's like, "Oh, like that means you're gonna have 0 points, 0 assists, 0 rebounds." I'm like, "Really? Like, are you serious?" But yeah, I mean, it was. Yep, that's really the reason behind it.
That's awesome. Hey, Allie, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Maybe we can get you on for one more episode before the year comes to an end. But awesome interview as always. So thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
It's Allie Becky. We'll be back here to wrap up our show here on episode number 5 of Fast Break.
Sometimes it's not the moment. It's the moment before the moment. The moment you make a choice. The moment you take control. The moment only you can own. GameBridge lets you invest on your terms. So you're not only in charge of this moment, but all the moments to come. Start investing now at GameBridge.io.
Back inside Fast Break, episode number 5 of our show. It's presented by GameBridge. Sam, as we start to wrap up the show for today, let's quickly take a look at the 3 contests that Ball State has coming up on the schedule to start Mid-American Conference play before we talk to our audience again. We start on January 1st, New Year's Day. Happy New Year to everyone. That will be in Oxford, Ohio, as Ball State takes on the Red Hawks of Miami University. Then 3 days later on Saturday, Ball State hosts Central Michigan on January 4th for the Battle of the Bands before wrapping up the slate of contests before we talk to you again against Eastern Michigan for Youth Night on January 8th. That is a Wednesday. All right, Sam, let's quickly look at it. We start with the Red Hawks of Miami of Ohio. You look at what Ball State did last year to the Red Hawks, a big victory at home, 91-56. And this year, Miami picked to finish 8th in the preseason coaches poll with 44 total points in that poll. What do you see out of the Red Hawks here, just from a quick glance?
I see a Miami team that's a lot better this season than it was last season. This is a team that played a tough non-conference schedule and emerged from that non-conference schedule with a record to be proud of. They're 7-3 right now. They posted a big win or two big wins in their Christmas Classic tournament against George Washington, against Florida International. Their only losses this year have come at Xavier and at home against Purdue. So that's two teams that are, power conference squads. And then they lost at Western Kentucky. Other than that, they've beaten good squads like Appalachian State, Austin Peay, Dayton. This is a Miami Redhawks team that's a lot better than, they have been in years past. I think it's going to be a lot closer. And to add to what this team has been putting together as of late, Angelina Gonzalez is the reigning MAC Player of the Week, the sophomore guard from Miami. So she's going to be a force that the Cardinals are going to have to deal with. I think it's going to be a lot closer of a game than we've seen in years past. But all in all, I think the expectation is still for the Cardinals to go in and put on a good performance and take care of business against the Red Hawks.
Then you look at January 4th, that Saturday afterwards, taking on Central Michigan University, a matchup that was dominated by Ball State last year. You take a look at the first matchup last year between the two, 79-47, that final in Mount Pleasant. Hey, don't forget that was the game Allie Becky put up 35 points and had, I think it was field trip day, I would want to say it was for Central Michigan because it was an 11 a.m. tip over in Mount Pleasant on a Wednesday, and all the kids came down and asked Allie for her signature after she put up 35-plus points on the Chippewas. And then the second contest as well, not particularly close, 78-54, that final last year in late February. You take a look at where Central Michigan is in the preseason coaches poll, sitting at 12th and dead last with just 20 points obtained in that poll. Looking at Central Michigan as a team overall, this is a very new team with some JUCO transfers, Sam. You have a national champion from Kirkwood Community College from a year ago. You have a couple of more additions from the Division I level. Again, Kristen Haney, in just her second year running that program, was an assistant during those legendary runs in the 2010s with CMU. So she knows what that program is supposed to look like, and she's already putting up some names from the transfer portal that have maybe put the MAC on watch just a bit. But taking a look at what they've done this year, CMU, a loss to Coastal Carolina in the MAC Sun Belt Challenge by just 3, a loss to Michigan, gave Bradley a good fight at home, but ultimately came up just 9 points short there. A loss to Oakland, have beaten teams like Nevada and Southern Utah, and then taking on a top 20 team in Iowa State and fell over in Ames. But you look at this Central Michigan team, they're young. Their leading scorer is a freshman right now, and it'll be very interesting to see what kind of fight this new Chippewa team puts up against the Cardinals on the road. And it's the first home MAC game for the Cardinals as well. So you know how well Ball State plays at Worthen. So we'll see what Central Michigan gives Ball State. And obviously Ball State going to be the heavy favorite going into that matchup. But I'm excited to see what this young CMU team has.
And I think we're going to get a nice litmus test of who CMU is in their first MAC game. They open at Buffalo. That's another one where Central Michigan is not heavily favored. But if they're able to put up a fight against the Bulls on the road in one of the toughest road trips in the MAC, especially coming from the state of Michigan, I think we're going to be a little more hesitant to just write this Central Michigan team off like we have in years past. Yeah, there's a ton of roster turnover. Yeah, they've gotten blown out in some games, but they've also kept a lot of games really close against some really good teams. I mean, you mentioned that Oakland team. You mentioned the Bradley game. I think of games against Dayton as well. Like, this is a Central Michigan team that, again, I think has improved from last year. And I think that bottom place finish in the MAC preseason poll was a little overzealous from the voters. I think this is a Central Michigan team that is going to finish not necessarily significantly above 12th place, but I think they're going to make maybe even a run for that 8th seed, if at all possible, in the MAC tournament, if the pieces fall their way and if this team gels how we think they can.
And then you look at the final matchup for the Cardinals in this 2-week stretch. hosting Eastern Michigan University for Youth Night on January 8th. I know that one's going to mean a heck of a lot for Lachelle Austin taking on her former team. But just like Central Michigan in a way, this is a newer program with a first-year head coach and sitting right now as we speak at just 1-8 overall. So it's been a rough go at it for EMU to start. A loss against Texas State to open up the season for the MAC Sun Belt Challenge. A loss against Alabama A&M. Obviously, a loss there against Michigan State, against Purdue Fort Wayne, against Detroit Mercy. The one win that Eastern Michigan did pick up was against Xavier, 72-60, but then obviously getting blown out by Notre Dame, losing in overtime in a heartbreaker to open up the UTRGV Holiday Classic, and then another loss against Texas A&M Corpus Christi as well. So it's been a rougher start to this new era of EMU basketball under their new first year head coach, but still a MAC opponent that you can't look over, Sam. And Eastern last year did give Ball State a good fight towards the end of the contest in the first matchup that those two teams played in Ypsilanti. And although it wasn't close in the second matchup in Muncie, again, never know. Maction is Maction.
Maction is Maction. I remember I was doing sideline for that second matchup between Ball State and Eastern in Worthen Arena, and I just remember that was when Lachelle Austin was still on the team, and the team at that point had been just ran over by COVID. They had a lot of injuries. I think they only rostered, I want to say 7 or 8 for that game. I mean, they were really close to just waving it and calling it. And it showed on the court. I mean, Ball State was ready to play. Eastern Michigan was not. Obviously, Ball State was able to secure Eastern Michigan's most critical piece in Lachelle Austin, and we're so happy to have her. But I don't know how different of a performance we're going to see from Eastern Michigan in this year. That's the one team over the next 2 weeks that I'm just scratching my head and wondering to myself, have they improved at all from last year? Cece Aleko is definitely a name to keep an eye on. She's averaging over 20 points per game, but she is really the only offense for Eastern Michigan right now. They've got a few games in between now and when they play Ball State. They've got 3 in between now and their game against Ball State, including one more non-conference matchup, but they're going to have to fix a lot of things if they want to give the Cardinals a run for their money over the next 2 weeks.
So Sahar Nusebi is the new head coach for Eastern Michigan. So she comes from Canisius, right? I think that's right, yeah. Spent a couple of years there. Spent a good amount of years there actually, and helped rebuild that program a bit. And that's a university in Buffalo, New York as well. So how about that for Eastern and to get a new head coach that can drive down the street and go see Mid-American Conference games at her old university. So we will see what this new look Eagle squad has for the Cardinals on January 8th. All right, Sam, as we close out our show, obviously looking back at the non-conference, had a really good conversation with Allie about where this team could go and how far they believe they can go. I mean, this is a team, Sam, going into Mid-American Conference play, although beat up, should be very confident about where it's at, especially with who has stepped up in the face of adversity, like you had mentioned. This is a team that obviously has high expectations. There's no doubt about that. You see where they're placed in the preseason coaches poll. You see how the team talks about itself and what they know they're capable of. Now the question is, can they put all the puzzle pieces together in the right spot? Sam, I'll just ask plain and simple, what does MAC play need to look like for the Cardinals to not only set themselves up in the Mid-American Conference tournament, but potentially secure a number 1 seed in a regular season championship?
Dom, I've got an interesting way of thinking about this, because the MAC schedule always looks so great for Ball State. Their performance looks phenomenal until the last 2 weeks of the regular season. We saw it last year. The collapse in the last 2 weeks of the regular season translated into a subpar performance in the MAC tournament, getting upset by Kent State in the semifinals. The big thing for Ball State this year, yes, you want to be, on your game for the entirety of MAC play, but in my mind, MAC play does not start until the final 2 weeks of the regular season. Yes, it's a competitive league, but 8 teams are going to the MAC tournament, and I can name 4 teams at least off the top of my head that Ball State is better than. So I can pretty confidently say that the Cardinals are going to the MAC tournament. Now it's about executing in those last 2 weeks of the regular season to set themselves up with a good seed. We hope the top seed in the conference, and then it's about carrying that momentum into the Mid-American Conference tournament. If Ball State is able to execute over that 3 to 4 week stretch, which is, granted 2 months away, but if they're able to do that, that's going to be the difference when it comes to bringing home championships, hanging banners in the rafters of Worthen Arena, putting a ring on your finger, and going dancing at the end of it. Execute now, no doubt, but certainly keep in the back of your mind that you got to execute in about 2 months as well.
All right, Sam, what are the New Year's plans for you? I know you're going to be busy with the team and calling that game in Oxford on New Year's Day, but do you have any plans for New Year's Eve?
Well, I'm going to be up in Muncie. I'm going to be doing sideline for the men's game against Anderson. So playing still up in the air right now. Got to see who all's around in Muncie. Might be staying up there. Might be coming back here to Cincinnati, hanging out with some friends, enjoying myself before the game against Oxford. But nothing huge planned. What about you?
Oh, I don't even know yet.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Don't even know yet, brother, to be completely honest with you. But I do know this. I'm excited for MAC play to start with this team. I'm excited to get back rolling in action on the radio and getting to call some great moments for this squad. That's going to do it here for episode number 5 of Fast Break. Hopefully you have a happy new year as we flip the calendar into 2025. Have a safe and healthy Happy New Year as well. So for my partner, Sam Niger, I am Dominic Leacani. We are saying so long. This has been another edition of Fast Break presented by GameBridge. We'll see you on the flip side.
Thanks for listening to Fast Break, presented by GameBridge. The preceding has been a presentation of Ball State Athletics in Learfield.